In this video, we're going to be looking at how we print the Roland colour chart. This would be a very basic way for you to colour match within Illustrator or CorelDRAW, and also you know what colour your printer can hit. Each printer will be slightly different depending on ink configuration, so it's important that you print this colour chart out, cut it up and put it in a booklet so you have a colour reference of what colours your printer can hit. So before we print out the colour chart, we need to make sure that the settings of your queue are set for the material you're going to be using most of the time. It's pointless printing out the colour chart on a material you're not going to be using, settings you're not going to be using, so ideally you want to set the queue settings to something you're going to be using most of the time. So for this instance we will use QE. So what we're going to do first is set the queue settings of QE. So what you want to do first is choose the profile you're printing. Most of the time it will be a vinyl. If you're printing banners most of the time, set to banner. But most of the time people will do it on a vinyl. So choose one of the generic vinyl settings. Generic vinyl 2, generic vinyl 1, or generic vinyl 3. Again, depending on printer model, this will differ slightly. So for now, generic vinyl 2, I'm going to print it at standard. You can choose the passes, whatever passes suit you. Make sure all this is set, and more importantly, make sure your colour management is set. So get to know your colour management before you print out your colour chart. Find a middle ground, or one that you use most of the time. My personal choice is sign and display. I will set that up. So what you're doing is just making sure that everything to do with your profile and your colour management settings are set before you print out this chart. Once you've done that, you can press OK. This will now save the default for QE of all them settings that you want to use. Now you can go ahead and print the colour chart. I'm using the Roland VG3 540. So I'll have the orange ink and I'll also have the green ink configuration. Again, depending on ink configuration, you will have different options in this menu. So you go to media along the top, and like I say, I've got the orange and green colour configuration, so I will have these available. If you have a 4-colour machine or a double CMYK machine, you will only have this top section there. So as a basic CMYK reference or colour chart, we can go to the colour selector, and what it will do, it will print out 22 pages, 22 A4 pages of all the colours that represent the colour palette in Illustrator and CorelDRAW. So we'll press OK on that. It will create the job for you and it will put it in QE. Once it's in, as you say, 22 A4 pages, and this will print out a colour chart of all the colours that are available in the Roland Colour System Library colour palette. So what we'll do, we'll just zoom in and give you a quick example of what we're looking for. So each colour will print out your ink configuration and also the colour management settings you set when setting the queue settings. So for instance, if you wanted to use this colour, you can see the code, it's RVW 8T39H. Now that might not mean too much at the moment, but this will replicate what's in your Illustrator. So when we go into Illustrator or CorelDRAW, you'll see your standard Roland colour palette. At this moment in time, I've only got the Roland VersaWorks palette open. So what I want to do, I want to bring in the Roland Colour System Library. If you're using the orange and the green ink configuration, there's also an orange colour system library and also a green colour system library. It will be slightly different how you bring the colour palettes in CorelDRAW, but in Illustrator, go to Swatch Libraries, Other Library, and point it in the direction of your VersaWorks folder in your C drive. and here you have all your inbuilt Roland colour palettes. The one we want at this moment in time is the colour system library. Like I say, if you have green or orange ink configuration, the RF640 8 colour will have your red colour system, and you also have your metallic. So we're going to bring in the Roland colour system library. This will now open up in your colour palette box. So as you see, all these colours there will represent what's on this screen there, and each colour will have a code. So for instance, if you want to find a certain colour, so we'll just zoom in on one of them colours again. You can go, say if you wanted that colour, you can go into your Illustrator and just search that colour code. So we'll go T39K. So in there you can type in T39K and it will give you that colour. So whatever you apply that colour to in this design, it may not look the same on screen, but you know, because you printed out the colour chart at the correct colour settings and profile settings, you know it's going to hit that colour. This will just give the customer, if they come in and ask for a certain colour, you can show them this colour chart and they can choose a certain colour. You know that as long as you set that colour in your swatches, you've got the correct settings at how that chart was printed, you know it's going to hit that colour. It'll be the same process for the orange and the green, so you can bring in your orange colour palette, and again you've got all your oranges. If you wanted to print that out, go back into your media, go into your orange colour selector, and this will print 3 A4 pages of the orange as well. It'll be the same process for the green and also for the red for your RF8 colour. So when we go into that, you'll see all your orange colours. And again, if you want to hit a certain orange, just search the code. So OR201B, so we'll type in 201B and it leaves you with that colour. It is literally that easy to do basic colour matching in VersaWorks and on your design. It just gives you, the printer, the user and also the customer an idea of what colours the printer can hit. If you press OK and press print, it will print out this will print out 3 A4 pages and the colour selector will print out 22 A4 pages. I recommend you don't hang this on a wall due to UV light from windows and also lights in your room and the environment. The colour will change over time. Ideally, once it's finished printing, cut it into the A4 sheets and put it in a booklet or a folder for reference later on. Again, if there's any questions after watching this video, feel free to get in touch. Thank you again for watching.